Hello and welcome to Beyond Graves and Stars. My name's Andy. This is a horror and sci-fi podcast. In this episode, I am joined by King Street Cinema's very own James Rowe, and we are looking at Trancers Parts 5 and 6. This is the third episode in our look at the Trancers franchise, third and final episode. And I watched both of these films last night, as did James. We both kind of really liked the first movie. Then it's been a bit up and down since. Check through our episodes and you can see two more episodes. One focusing on the original and its sequel, and then another one focusing on parts 3 and 4. Okay, this is the conversation we had about those movies.
Deth has traveled through time to a dimension ruled by Trancers. I am master of time and space. I'm not afraid of anyone. His only chance of escape lies in the trust of an enemy. I have given up everything because I hated what my people were doing. Together, they will go on a deadly quest to find the power that waits inside a castle of terror. I've had about enough of this psychodrama. Deth's final adventure has begun. This is unrelenting terror. I can't wait for total panic. Trancers by sudden death.
James, hello.
Hi, Andy.
We've made it to the end of the Trancers franchise, which started so well.
Yeah,
And
here we are. 5 and 6.
5 and 6. If you haven't already, do listen to parts 1 and 2 of this podcast talking about Trancers 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4.
Yeah, so it's our third outing.
Third and final. I can't see them bringing this franchise back. If they do,
we'll return.
we shall return, yes. And usually we recommend to watch the films first. If you fancy it, I mean, we're not going to. There's not too much to spoil. It's all if you've seen the other movies. I don't think anything really. But do watch them and give them a go. They're quite hard to find if you want to buy them legally. But if you have a look about, I'm sure you can find them.
Oh yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, at least on DVD,
second-hand
charity shop DVD type things.
Yeah.
But they are all on YouTube.
They are.
So if you've got a YouTube, you can watch them.
I don't know how long they'll stand there for though.
Some of them I think have been on there for years and years. Yeah. I just don't know if there's any copyright with them anymore or anything.
I suppose because the last one is 23 years old now.
Yeah.
And actually part 5 is on Plex, which is
that's
free with ads.
Yeah, that's another one.
So but
you get the ads with YouTube as well. So it's just not like it's any different to.
I didn't.
So. Did you?
I didn't get any ads with YouTube.
Oh, well done you.
Yeah. Hey. So part 5. Have you listened to the last episode, or have you seen it? Part 4. Deth is stuck in another dimension, isn't he?
That's right, on a planet, another dimension, another planet. I guess I don't know how all this dimension jumping works. If it's another planet, or if it's Earth with just a different name in another dimension, because they call the planet Orpheus.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a planet, or they say this place is Orpheus. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Who knows? But yeah, we're in a different place, another dimension. Though it's kind of all medievally, And there's nobles who are the Trancers, and then there's like normal folk, which they're called tunnel rats. They're kind of like the rebellion, if you are, like Star Wars styly.
Yeah.
And they want to get rid of the nobles because the nobles keep sucking the life away of all the normal people.
Yeah, and at the end of the last one, they defeated and killed
Caliban, King. I think King Caliban's his name. So they got rid of him. And you do have a quick. So in 5. Trancers 5 called Sudden Death.
They're spelled D-E.
Well, of course, as Jack Death. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got the same director from the last one because they were shot back to back. So it's basically it's continuing on from 4. Ultimately, nothing stopped. Production continued. They went straight on with this one. So we have a short movie, which makes sense. A lot of sort of beginnings of if you hadn't seen 4, here's kind of what happened in 4, kind of dealy for a little bit.
For 8 minutes.
So really eating up the running time there.
Yeah, I mean, according to Letterboxd, it lasts 91 minutes. It doesn't.
No.
It's 1 hour 13.
Yeah.
And 8 minutes at the beginning is beginning credits and then recapping to the previous hour 10-minute film.
Yeah.
So they're getting their money's worth from the action sequences and stuff.
Absolutely. So when we start off in this one, they've taken the castle, the nobles. They basically kick the nobles out.
Yeah, on your bike.
On your bike, exactly. And so the nobles, the ones that are still alive, are like a little pathetic group of, oh, what are we going to do kind of thing. And Jack obviously wants to go home. Yeah, he's had enough of being this basically king of the castle, which he is at this point. He's kind of like the man. He's got his slave girl, Lyra, who he's not really into because all she wants to do is be with him, and he's like, oh, I like women who, want to kick me around and hurt me and stuff. Yeah. And all you want to do is, be nice to me and that. So he's not happy with that. Makes sense. And he wants to go home, right? He wants to go back to his own time and all that, or his own dimension.
He realises that he's in love with the woman back home.
Also called Lyra, played by the same actor. Yeah. Who he's known for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and didn't like each other. But he likes that.
That's the point. That's what I mean with the slave girl version of Lyra. Is like, oh, I love you, and then he's like, I don't want that. I want someone who doesn't love me. Sort of thing. Yeah.
Quite accurate to a lot of people. I know this.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate.
Yeah.
So he's got to go on a quest, right? He's got to go on a quest to find out how he can go back to his own dimension, and he's told that there's this stone gem type thing called the Diamond, like a diamond.
The first time they say it, they do point out.
Deth goes, like diamond.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. There is a little bit of that throughout the film, kind of tongue in cheek, almost like nodding a wink to the audience, kind of like, isn't this cheesy kind of thing.
Well, where's the Diamond kept? That's the name they keep saying.
Yeah.
Which is the castle of unrelenting terror.
Yeah, that's the one. So brilliant. I know, great. Awesome stuff. Classic, over the top, silly fantasy type thing.
Yeah.
So he goes on this quest with Prospero, who is the son of Caliban, who so turned on his father, said, I don't want to do this trancery thing anymore. Yeah. I want to be with the tunnel rats, and kind of like gets together with is it Shalim, I think, who's like the leader of the tunnel rats, but they're not really together because he's kind of like feeding off her sort of thing. It's a weird kind of there's a sort of sexual connotation to this sort of trancery type thing. I remember that from 4 as well, that it is kind of because it's vampires, and vampires are always the sort of this sucking of blood and stuff has always been kind of sexual.
They've evolved over the movies from zombie likes to vampire likes.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's another planet or dimension.
That's why things are different, which is how they get away with it without it being sort of like, well, how did that happen then? And it's fine. I quite enjoyed that from the 4th one, really, that the fact that it was different to the others, that they had decided to go in this different route and give reason for it, which is fine. It doesn't affect the overall story in a negative way.
No.
Yeah.
So
they go on this quest.
Yeah, and somehow Caliban comes back from the dead, doesn't he?
Yeah. So one of his underlings saves like a portrait of him, if I remember correctly,
yeah.
and somehow he comes back to life through the portrait.
He doesn't know why he wants that portrait.
Yeah, so there's a lot of this going. There's a lot of magic that somehow people can do or is happening because of decisions that people make, which has no explanation. It's just happening, and that's again,
it's fantasy,
for the fantasy, for the kind of film it is, for the kind of story it is, it's fine.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's not great, but it's fine.
I think I found the problem with this film. I don't get me wrong, I still quite enjoyed it, but it's almost flogging a dead horse now, isn't it?
Oh, completely.
But we've mentioned the length of it, and shot at once. Now, even if we take 8 minutes off and take all the padding out, you got a 2-hour film if you put 4 and 5 together. With editing, we could have told all this story well in about an hour 40. Definitely. I reckon
easily.
And I think they knew that.
Yeah.
I think it was stretched out to make more money.
Yeah.
To sell 2 different films.
Yeah, sure.
Which is fine. It's Full Moon. That's kind of what they do. Mm-hmm. A lot of their movies. I remember watching the second Doll Man or one of the Doll Man movies, and it's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 sort of thing, where half of the film is flashbacks, and this is what they've done in the video era, isn't it? A lot. It's low budget to sell, and the first couple of movies, first 3, I'd say, were low budget, but not like that. They weren't trying to rip us off, so to speak.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. They were trying to they were trying to follow, expand on the already existing story of Jack. Giving him more to do and more reason for what he's doing, and developing, minimally, but still developing the characters a bit. Where here, right, so what we've done from 4 is we've gone into a completely new dimension where all the rules have changed, everything's different. And that's fine and works because he's gone to another dimension. So it's almost like starting from the beginning in a way.
Yeah.
And like you say, you could just do that in one movie easily.
Yeah.
And they've just decided, as you said, to turn it into 2, probably for that reason, that they just want to make some cash, extra money. I just don't see how it would have worked, really. I mean, I love the first film, right? I'm a big fan of the original movie, but I'm sure there are a lot of people like myself who would have just been like, who like the original. Like, why do I want to watch this one?
Even if you look at the cover of this one, when he's on a horse and stuff, you're like, doesn't look like the film that we loved, and it would have almost been better if they'd have maybe just called it Jack Deth and sold that character opposed to. Do you see what I mean? Because it's him in a different situation.
Yeah, sure.
And it feels really forced that they're even Trancers, isn't it?
And that is sort of the point of the character anyway. That's what we hear he is that, sure, he's a Trancer hunter, but in his world, he's got rid of all the Trancers, and now he's going around throughout time solving other crimes, right? Yeah. I think that's correct. And so, we could have had that. We could have had Jack Deth doing other things other than fighting Trancers. I mean, they do call them Trancers. They are Trancers in their own dimension.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, they're different.
Yeah.
So you could have, like I say, just had the whole thing. And I think that would have been fine. I don't think anyone would have really had a problem with that. They would have gone, all right, it's a Jack Deth film where it's not, not Trancers. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has appeared in other films. I haven't seen it, but apparently that character played by him is in Evil Bong.
Okay, no, I have no idea.
No, because I was reading this was the last time that he played the character, apart from in that. So I'm assuming it's a cameo. It's another film.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something tiny. Just hey, look, it's Jack Deth sort of thing.
But Tim Thomerson isn't proud of parts 4 and 5. He's gone on record saying he doesn't.
Right, I can understand that.
Yeah. But we sort of said before that he was sort of looking a bit bored. But watching this, at moments he does. But that's the character. I still think he's enjoying. The comedy side of it, he seems to be enjoying.
Well, yeah. Okay, so from after 1, for me, none of them have been great. But he's always been consistent.
Yeah.
And he's what holds any of it together, for me, at any of it at all, right? He's the only reason why I'm like, I'll come back and see another one for like the podcasts or whatever, because I like the character.
Yeah.
But the rest,
I remember you, from the conversations on air and off, I certainly picked up on you preferred 3 to 2.
Definitely, because I thought the story was more fun. and it was more kitsch and just silly. And that works for me better with these kind of sequels, which is why, right? So 4 and 5, even though they're not good, and some of the acting is some of the worst we've seen up to this point in the movies.
Up until this point,
but they are, I don't know. Maybe I just like the idea of putting Jack in this kind of not medieval, but is medieval kind of time period. Yeah. I do like stuff like that, It's like makes me think of like Doctor Who, where he travels to different parts of time.
Yeah, I think that's where it was trying to go, wasn't
it? He's in a like it's history sort of type thing, and I don't mind that. I don't mind it being completely silly. So it could have been a lot worse. I think is what I'm trying to say.
I will admit, as you can probably pick up on how I'm talking about this, I didn't think this was a good film, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it.
No, exactly. It's not. It's not good. I mean, they're not good movies up to this point. But they're so short.
Yeah.
And he's likable enough that it's not running enough time for me for it to become annoying.
Yeah. For me, these two films, especially the fifth one, feels like we're sort of 4 seasons into Warrior.
It's very TV up to here. Yeah.
And there's still moments, and so you still like the character. It's still him,
which is funny in a way because he's really not that likable.
Yeah.
Like, as a character, if you think about it, if you knew him in real life, I don't want to know this guy.
Yeah. But it's the same way if you comedy fans will know. People like Alan Partridge is a right arsehole.
Yeah.
But you can't help. There's something about him you can't help like, and I'd say is that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
but it also
Partridge is more nuanced and there's more depth to him.
Yeah. But with Jack, with Jack Deth, it is that his arrogance, and he's not all that, but he just sort of gets through and ends up like this ends with him being the end of part 4 ends with him being the hero, and he doesn't deserve to be. He's just there.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? He's not really. Well, that's what I mean by when I say things like he seems like he's really tired and he doesn't really want to be there or whatever. And I don't think he didn't not want to be there necessarily, but I think he's put it. Tomlinson, obviously, I'm sure, came to a conclusion that this character is someone who just gets through things and doesn't, not necessarily not that he doesn't have to try by this point. He's done this stuff for so long, for so many years. It just comes naturally to him, and he's had enough of it, but he's got to do it.
Yeah. But he is a guy who can also magic up cigarettes. Do you notice that?
Yes. I mean, this one I was like, okay, he's been there for a while. He's quite a heavy-ish smoker. Where are these cigarettes come from? It wasn't like when he went to another dimension with like a crate full of cartons of cigarettes.
But I think that's kind of part of the joke as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure they were aware of this. When
they bring back the lighter turning into a flamethrower thing. Because the character Prospero, it's a scene which is chewing up time, which is amazing in this film, right? Where they're just talking about the fact that when I came to this dimension, my my bits of equipment and whatever, anything I had from my dimension didn't work properly, like this lighter. Look at this flamethrower.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, and it's all so that he can explain the time watch bit.
Yeah,
and it's like, but we saw it. Yeah. You don't need to explain it. We've already seen. This is just chewing up time.
This is a flaw with these movies. I'm the sort of person who, if I get a night off, I can sit and watch like 3 Nightmare on Elm Street films back to back. All the Critters films. I could bang through them in one night.
Right.
Whereas with this, it would be difficult because if you watch part 4 or 5 back to back, you're watching so much of the same thing that it would become boring.
Yeah, and like I say, there's a lot of when you're not seeing the same thing. There's a lot of just talking about stuff you've already seen.
Yeah.
Like it's almost as if, like you say, there isn't enough here for 2 movies.
Yeah.
There clearly isn't.
What they have to realise as well is these movies were made for VHS, right?
Yes.
So it's not like when Empire Strikes Back comes out and there's been 3 years of not being able to watch it over and over unless you pay 10 quid or the equivalent of that then. And there would have been a good year, I reckon, where you wouldn't have been able to see Star Wars.
Possibly.
And there's no recap.
No, there's nothing. I mean, you have the scroll at the beginning explaining what's sort of going on, what you're about to see. Yeah. But there's no recap.
Because I think
you have to just sort of either remember or try to figure stuff out. If you haven't seen the original film, you figure stuff out as you go along.
What I'm saying is, if something's pretty well written, you don't need all that.
Well, it's very true. Absolutely. I mean, try not to be all snobby about storytelling on these things, because we are watching movies that are clearly made.
Yeah, they're B movies.
They're very, and so a lot of time what we're looking for here isn't necessarily well-crafted storytelling.
No.
But
also we do understand that they're very low budget and they need to stretch that time.
Sure.
And
but it would be nice just that. That you could watch these kind of films and go, oh look, here's a group of people, a crew of filmmakers got together and they've made a film, cheap, low budget movie, and they've really thought about it, really thought about telling an interesting story instead of going, okay, let's just bang together a few bits and pieces of something we've already done and just stretch it out as long as we can.
Yeah, which is going back to what I said before. If 4 and 5 were one movie, then I think it would be that.
Yeah, well, it would certainly be better. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, but he gets back. He does get back to. He gets the Tryman, doesn't he?
He does. I'm trying to because because it's a short film, a lot happens and then it ends, and you don't even really notice. For me, I was like, okay, so we've got to the end now, because it was sort of like they turn up to another castle which pretty much looks like the same castle. I'm sure it is the same castle. Just shot at different parts of the castle. And has to go through a couple of tests. One's pretty cool. One was like, it's the is it Galahad sort of a story where he's in there's all these maidens who are trying to basically make it so that they forget their quest, right? Give them all the things they want, have all this attention, focus on them, and basically they'll just rot away because they all they're doing is basically having sex constantly till they die. And so I thought that was
good. Yeah,
nice. It was little touch,
very Monty Python,
kind of thing. And then there's another one which made no sense at all, where we just see loads of old people and they just walk past them. It's like, why are all these old people in this part of the castle? Like, clearly this is meant to mean something, but they've cut out whatever it was that it was meant to mean.
Yeah, I didn't even film it.
Sure.
I don't imagine there's many deleted scenes for these movies.
Probably not. I don't know. But so they get the thing, and he gets to go home. Defeats Caliban again. Very simply, just like, oh, you're there, are you? No, you're not.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to come back.
No,
he doesn't even, it's because he was just on set still.
Yeah. Well, it definitely felt like,
because I thought it was going to go the way of his sort of head henchman guy, the Mark Arnold from Teen Wolf. Yeah, I thought he was going to sort of take over and be the main villain, which he could do well, I think.
He's probably one of the better people.
Yeah, I like him as an actor. I think. Especially in this role, because I'm used to him being. I've seen him in other things. He was in like a werewolf film and stuff recently, and he tends to always play villains. But in this one, he's like the bumbling villain, and I've not seen him do that before. And I think he does it quite well. Yeah. Well, he stands out in this anyway.
Yeah. So, I thought he was one of the better, like I say, one of the better actors.
One of the actors.
I mean, again, there are some other funny kind of points that Lyra, the slave Lyra, turns into like the seer, who all of a sudden now she's got the power of sight, and that's important for getting, helping out Jack and getting Jack back to where he's got to go. And it also gives, I suppose, a certain amount of credence to whatever it is that Jack's feeling in general about this person, Lyra.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to mention. When he gets back, she's talking to
Jennings.
Yeah, and basically has a conversation where she realizes she's actually in love with him.
Yeah, so
which is really
it's very silly and almost, I don't know what the word is really, just not good. I want to say something not very nice, and don't want to be too horrible about it, but it's not good. Anyway, it's really cheap. It's really poor. storytelling,
but it also takes away
and wrapping things up. You know,
I mean, it gets back and they're instantly like in love with each other.
Yeah.
Now that takes away why he liked her in the first place.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really work.
No, it's awful. Andy, it's really awful. It's really bad, and it's done clearly solely to say that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
We are finished with this story, and that's how Jack gets his happy ending.
But one thing I do
As it
like,
were.
because he doesn't come back alone, does he?
No, he comes back with Prospero.
Yeah.
So because he's always going to have to, because it seems like he's always got like a partner. Remember we had the fish guy before.
Yeah, but that's because I missed the fish guy, and I was really annoyed that they just got rid of him.
Yeah.
And when we, as we said before, listen to the last episode and we explain why we think that is. And obviously before that, Helen Hunt was the partner.
Yeah, his partner. Yeah.
So I like the dynamic between those two because there is that they don't particularly like each other, but they do. It's been done before, but the chemistry kind of works.
Yeah, again, it's not terrible at all. I mean, the film wasn't like terrible, like unwatchable. There's enough in there for you to go, okay, you can stick with it, right? You can stick with it all the way through, and that's because, like you say, there's elements that are likable, and their partnership throughout the film is good. Yeah. It made sense. On a certain level that he'd come back with Jack or go to Jack's dimension. But at the same time, you do really get the feeling that is it, that they are done with this.
I think that was the sort of plan was, let's wrap it all up. But if we do want to carry on, there's this route we could go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I'd have liked to have seen him in our world in a kind of Crocodile Dundee, fish out of water.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jack. It's the opposite, just of what Jack's just done. So now we're going to have Prospero doing that.
Yeah, but it could have gone on. Like his dad could have come back from the dead yet again to get.
Oh, that was the thing about so Caliban. So the reason why Caliban comes back, or something that Caliban wants to do, what he wants to use the Timon for, because he wants it, right? He wants the Timon, because he wants to open up a rip in the dimensions, so that he can. I wrote down something like lots of dimension demons go into Caliban, because he opens up this rip, and through it come these spirits that go into him, and they're like, "Oh, we're free, thank you very much," kind of thing, and they go to give him this sort of, I guess, evil power. Again, no, you don't know nothing about it really beyond that. Like it's just a thing that's happening, and you go, okay, but I thought that was at least something. But I was like, oh, okay, he's got given him a certain amount of agency for what his purpose is for coming back and wanting this thing, which clearly is a source of power that's beyond anything, but was not mentioned at all in 4.
No, it just sort of
now it's a thing, and it's something he'd always wanted but feared going for because of how dangerous it was to get. So he's going to wait till Jack gets it and then steal it off Jack.
But what a villainous.
I know exactly. But what we saw, apart from the fake women that were like, it didn't really look that hard of a thing to get.
No.
It's like, mate, you're just lazy.
I mean. Based on that, you can see how cheap the film is. We don't really need to even talk about the cast, because they're all the same as in the last film. We did mention, we'll talk about 6 in a sec. Shouldn't take long. But there was going to be a part 7 with Deth returning, which was planned by Charles Band, mentioned it in interviews. That's the producer, or one of the writers and directed the original. And it was going to be called Deth in Saigon.
Right.
And that was all planned to happen, whatever, and then just didn't.
Right, so he's going to go to China then.
Yeah, that was going to be the next instalment, but it didn't happen.
Good.
But he'd been too old then. Because,
I think so.
I mean, we said before, he was too old when they made the first one. So even though he was probably, when they made the first one, a lot younger than us now, he just looked older.
He's probably in his late 30s, I'd say.
Yeah. And I am in my early 40s.
And there's 10 years between the first film and this one, right? Yeah. So he's 10 years older. If we say sort of like late 40s now in this movie, so it's like, okay, man.
And as we mentioned before, from part 4, he didn't want to do the action. He said he couldn't do the action. So that's why they were sort of trying to bring in a sidekick who was more fighter involved.
Physically able and stuff. And there is a lot of not very good, but there is a lot of physical action in the movie.
It was part 4. I think it really stood out that the fight sequences weren't very well choreographed.
No, that's right. 3 and 4. Yeah, 3 also had that problem as well. Even though I enjoyed 3 a lot more. There were fights. The fight scenes were really shoddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well in these later ones, it's a good idea and it kind of works going to the medieval type stuff. But I'm missing those other characters, not just Helen Hunt. I'm missing what was the sort of the bloke above him? Who,
McNulty.
McNulty, yeah, he was good. Yeah. He had the ball player, he was good.
Yeah,
and it's just
and the idea of going into, when you travel through time, that you go into an ancestor, take the body, or you own the body of an ancestor type thing. That was cool. Yeah, that's a great idea. I really like that. Yeah, that doesn't exist here in this movie,
but it does exist in part 6.
That's right.
Which we're going to take a breather now, and I'm going to play you the trailer for part 6, and then we'll be back to talk about part 6.
You're going down the line. There's someplace you have to be now.
You really don't know who you're dealing with. Every time I start asking questions, Trancers pop up and start shooting.
What are we going to do?
Kick some ass. This place is going up in flames. Welcome to your future, asshole.
Okay, we're back, but Tim Thomerson isn't back. It's part 6.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. And this movie came out in 2002.
True.
So 8 years after the last chapter.
Absolutely.
And
it's a different kettle of fish altogether. This one.
Trancers 6, Life After Death, same attitude, different sex.
Yeah.
Brief summary, James.
Okay. So Jack Deth's back in LA and his own time. It's not Tim Tomlinson, so we have a body double, and at the same time using old footage of him from previous movies to look like he's speaking in real time.
On a
video screen. It's some of the worst things I think I've ever seen in a movie that was released to the public as a professionally done. I thought, my God, how did they get away? How did they think that this was going to be okay?
He's talking to someone, but there's different backgrounds because they just take it from film.
Yeah.
So it's terrible.
Yeah, it's parody, right? It is parody, but it's not, because they're trying to play it off as serious, as like, we'll get away with this. But yeah, it's comedy. Yeah. It's the sort of thing you'd see in a Mel Brooks, movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, very annoying. So let's bypass that. So Jack's got to go back in time again because Trancers are back, aren't they? Who would have thought it? So he's got to go back to what is it? Is it 2000s? Is it? Yeah. So I mean, the film's like 2002, but I don't think it's set in that same year.
It's set in 2022.
22, yeah. So not too far off our own time right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got to go back in time because Trancers are back and they're going to kill him, basically. Yeah. His bloodline. They're after. They've got signs that say, "Oh no, they're going to kill his daughter." And he's like, "Okay, I've got to go back." And turns out that the daughter of Helen Hunt's character, whose name sadly I forget right now. The daughter that we meet in 3 turns out to actually be Jack's.
Yeah, she's told that she's not.
Yeah.
That she is,
It
for the
is.
sake of this movie.
This movie. Same writer, this film,
As
as 3. So that's good that there was a connection then. So maybe.
Yeah, I imagine he'd written this to follow straight after that.
Yeah.
With proper actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jack goes back into the body of, I'm guessing, maybe in her 20s. I'm going to say his daughter, who's
she
now
looks young.
Yeah, so I'm going to say got to be
Early
her
20s.
20s.
Yeah.
Her name's Josephine.
Well, if it was 22, we saw them before. So 2002, we saw them before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So she'd be mid-20s. She was young.
Yeah,
so
she was like
mid-20s.
5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
She? Something like that. But yeah, so now she's in her 20s and she's got a job and she's very nerdy, I'd say.
Yeah.
Really into science, also kind of a hippie and a vegan, though they don't use those words, but clearly that's...
all the food in the fridge.
all the food in
yeah. He didn't like that, did he?
No, he was not happy with the fact that he has a healthy daughter.
Yeah.
So he's in the body of his daughter, and he's going to find out, where the Trancer threat is coming from.
Yeah.
And it's a meteorite. So a meteorite hits Earth, and with it bringing the power that you can enhance from the meteorite, the power of trancing people.
Yes. And
this evil group led by I forget the guy's name. I think it's something like Mr. Castle. Mr. Castle is our bad guy. Though Shauna, his sidekick, is in the film the most, and is kind of, for me, more the real bad guy of the film. And what they're doing is they're recruiting or kidnapping, really, runaway kids and homeless people, and trancing them to do their evil bidding, basically, to try to take over the world. And Jack's got to stop that. Yeah. And that's the plot.
Very part 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just executed poorly.
Yeah.
This film, I'm going to moan like hell about it, but I honestly didn't hate it. It's not a good film. It makes part 5 look like Citizen Kane.
Pretty much.
But like those ideas, I like. I like that he's now gone back, and you've got, for the whole movie, a female version of him.
Yes.
And I think she does it okay.
Yes.
She's not the world's best actress. If you look her up, she hasn't done much.
Yeah.
Zetty Sullivan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think she was fine. She was probably the best thing about this.
I'd agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. So I like that idea, but you need him as well. You need the crossover to be done properly, not the poor excuse for filmmaking that we got, what we just spoke about. When you see his body, it's clearly not him. Yeah. So the way of time traveling, which is in the first 3 films. In the earlier films, but for some reason they give explanation in the old movies, which I'm forgetting, sadly, I haven't got my notes, why they can't do it this way. Yeah. So they have a new way of doing it. They build like a machine now that they travel through time with. Yeah. But we're back to the original way for some reason, no explanation, which is that you sort of go under some sort of like medical procedure where your body's out cold and your mind or something is then transported back in time to an ancestor, right? Yeah. So, and I'm glad they brought that back because I love that idea. I love the concept. Yeah. It's insane. It's great. It's good fun. Insane it's sci-fi. Isn't it? Crazy sci-fi stuff. But they don't explain why it's come back and why all of a sudden you can do it again. This is a thing I dislike with a lot of sequels when there's a big gap, because they take liberties. If this had been made a year later, they would have explained that. Yeah. But they think, it's been 8 years, we'll just do it. Yeah, we'll just do it. No one will say anything. Yeah. Even the artwork on the poster looks bad. But anyway. Yeah. It made me. I'm trying to think kids TV, Power Rangers but worse, Buffy but worse. Yeah. It's got those elements the makeup effects of the Trancers, the teenagers when they do. It looks very Buffy. It looks very Lost Boys as well. Lost Boys, sure. But obviously cheaper. I mean, I think a lot of the money probably went on the makeup because there's a fair bit of it. Yeah, true. But all of it seems like it's been filmed on like an abandoned army base or something like that. Yeah, it's clearly shot on some
some area where there's either it's owned by, or someone who's on the crew knows who owns the space, and they're just using it. Yeah, they're just using it. They've got, because there's clearly no cash. Really, there's almost no budget to this movie in a lot of ways, in a lot of senses. You were saying, I think, to me yesterday that a lot of the crew are in the film.
Every crew member is in the film in some way. Which, don't get me wrong, I love low budget filmmaking. I try to understand if something looks bad. Well, they haven't got the money. Can't magic up the money.
Yeah.
But with this, it's part 6 of a franchise.
Yeah.
I think they could have got the money if they, or just
maybe.
It's one of those things that it's gone so down that was it even worth making?
It's not. It's really not. I could not recommend this film to anyone ever. I really couldn't. I think this is an appalling excuse for a film, and it's a real shame that it's got the Trancers name on it.
Yeah. It's like a parody of it.
Yeah, like I said, it is, but done straight. This is clearly meant. I mean, it's got elements of the Jack Deth comedy in, right? So we've got it's Jack Deth in the body of a woman, and it's Jack Deth, and so she's saying the kind of things that Jack would say and behaving like that. Isn't that funny? So you got that, but otherwise, it's told very straight, and it's awful.
Well, this is the thing. I think in there, if it was different people behind it, there is a good film in there, or at least a watchable one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
No.
And
some of the actors they're just not actors.
Yeah, this is things you can't blame them.
Yeah,
but you can't. But it's just some of the money for this was put in by Blockbuster,
right?
When that big video chain. Then something went wrong and they pulled out or something.
Yeah,
but that's not really an excuse. But I generally think they pulled out because they saw what was going on. Possibly they I'm sure of it. I'm sure they thought, all right, this is a failure of a project, so we'll just get out. Yeah, and it looks like something that could have been shelved.
Yeah,
but I suppose they want to make the money. I do feel sorry for the main actress because I think she's the best thing about it. She's gone on to do very little. Maybe she's packed up acting. I don't know. I couldn't find anything out.
Probably.
There's no Wikipedia or anything for her.
IMDb,
the director's done lots of sort of full moon stuff,
right? Yeah,
so hired hand.
Yeah, well,
he can get the job done cheap.
Exactly.
If you look at some of the stuff he's done, a film called Things, Ghost Lake, Unseen Evil, Iron Thunder. Yeah, he's made some others.
Yeah,
basically, and it's even the poster has got. Josephine Deth with a gun, not really looking much like her. She looks older in the picture.
Yeah.
With a picture of Jack Deth in the background to sell it.
Absolutely.
He's not.
He's not in it.
No,
the actor Tim Tomlinson is not in the film, other than archive footage made to look like he's in the movie, and it's shameful.
Yeah.
There is very little. I'm really trying to think of something that I vaguely liked about it, and it is.
Okay, positives.
Yeah,
bit of good makeup. Right?
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Yeah,
somewhere in there's a good-ish story.
Yeah,
she's quite good, and eventually the film ends.
I'd say that's about it. Yeah, that really is. The finale of the film goes on for so long, right? The finale, because considering in previous movies they've wrapped it up quite tightly at the end.
Yeah.
This goes on. This drags. Yeah. This bit where it's just shooting and shooting. There's constantly people with guns just shooting at each other, and it just felt like it just was never going to end.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? The other movies were even though the action scenes weren't great, they were really good at the timing of it, right? The pacing of it was really good.
Yeah.
We haven't got that here.
Yeah, it feels like a what do you call it? A fan-made film.
Absolutely, it's the sort of thing that these days some kids would put together and put on the web, right?
Yeah. There's loads of Batman ones and that sort of thing, isn't there? It's certainly got that feel.
It does. Sadly, it's one of those things that reminds me of the early 2000s, this period of these kind of movies that would pop up on, on some weird obscure channel that doesn't exist anymore on Sky.
Bravo.
Something like that. And you'd just be like, why am I up at 3 a.m? That sort of thing.
But but some of that stuff was quite good. But,
I mean, every now and then there'd be one that was really entertaining, but then most of them weren't. And this is it. This is that. And you'd just be like, God, how did they do it? How did they make the money? Get the money at all? To do it.
I mean, I think if I'd have come in, I hadn't seen any of the others, and then watched this, I'd probably have enjoyed it more. Yeah. Because I've got nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
So you say I wouldn't recommend this to anyone unless they hadn't seen any of the others,
right? Yeah.
And just fancy watching a low budget film.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, if you're into poorly acted, not greatly executed movies,
yes,
then this is why not watch this movie?
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of Trancers, the original film, then no, I would say don't watch this movie.
I'd love to see like a audio commentary with Tim Tomlinson and Charles Band talking about this. Yeah. Because they're quite brutal when they talk about the good ones on the other commentaries.
I don't think he would do it. I mean, I think he's got a little, because it's not very classy, is it? If you're not involved in the thing to be ripping it off, and to be slagging it off even. So it makes sense that a movie like this that they took a punt. They take a punt. It makes sense that they'd have another go. Yeah. But it's just. But
it also it does say that 8 years later there was still a bit of demand. Yeah, because they must have made this.
And they make this. This film finishes with clearly the idea of wanting to make more. Yeah. Right, it's open ended. There's still Trancers about and all that, and it turns out there's kind of like they're aliens. They're aliens that have brought the trancing, the ability, that power, to Earth. And that there's some sort of kind of conspiracy about it as well. That there's like a group of rich people or whatever who are actually aliens who have the power to turn people into trancers. And you're like, oh, okay, there you go. There's a story lead, that you could run with that and create more stories based around that idea. But thankfully, so far they haven't, because this was an appalling film.
Yeah, I mean.
But like you say, so there's some good ideas in there, and other done by someone better would have done it better.
Yeah, I think they should have maybe held back until there was maybe more demand, and just make it with a slightly bigger budget. Yeah. But sometimes with movies, I've not looked into it, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but there's a lot of movies where they do get a budget, that money goes elsewhere, and they churn out stuff and either cheaper.
I don't even think it's about the budget necessarily. It's just about how to make a movie, like how to make movies. Like they don't. The people involved in this one just don't know.
But the director's done quite. But then saying that, the stuff he's done might be since. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know, or it could be just the same, like the same stuff. Everything about it is just every all his movies look like this one.
Yeah.
And like I say, if you do it, I'm sure it was made extremely quickly.
Yeah.
And they got it out really fast as well. Yeah. And it would have been extremely low budget. And if that's what you want to do, then fine, right?
Yeah. But as proven with other movies in this franchise, other movies I've talked about on the podcast, you can get a very entertaining, very low budget movie.
Sure.
This is the rare one that I'm going to ask you your ratings for both of these. Yeah. I'm going to guess a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, just because of the ideas, and I want to get the best out of this for me is a 2, a low 2. And the other one is a very low 3, high 2.9. Yeah. Mainly because I'm invested in it now, and I've one of the reasons I do this podcast is to find the best in these films.
Sure.
It was a struggle, but there are things about Part 6 I like. Right. But overall, I wish they hadn't made it.
Yeah, so. I mean, like I said, I have seen worse movies. There are films that have annoyed me much more, that have really offended me much more than this one did. Yeah. But so I mean that's a plus. Yeah, I guess.
But now we've finished. I just asked you your ratings and told you what they were, but you're happy with that.
Yeah, that is what I would have said. So two stars for the fifth one and 1 star.
But I do want to say thanks for doing these episodes, because I know you're a fan of the first one.
I am very much so.
Overall, better or worse than what you thought watching all of them? Do you think the franchise?
Okay, so I often, as an adult, I generally don't go back, and if I haven't seen films as a kid, I generally don't go back and watch like franchise of movies that I really like.
Yeah.
I leave them alone. I go, right. So that's kind of why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly why we're doing this. So yeah, it's been interesting. I haven't minded it at all, right? Would I say that there were? So I don't know. They're probably about what I expected. I'd say. Yeah. So I think I haven't been surprised.
No.
But I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've certainly enjoyed it. I've in no way gone, oh, this is really annoying. I don't think it's possible with these kind of movies to feel that way.
No, yeah. They're inoffensive films.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're super short and they're fun enough. Like even this one, which is definitely the hardest one to see all the way through without feeling like, oh, could you just get on with it, please? Even this one has, enough stuff going on, which you go, and because if you do like the Jack Deth character, the lady playing Jack Deth is doing it fine. She's doing him well enough that you don't go, oh, this is awful, how could she? Sort of thing, So I can't recommend it. The sixth one, I can't.
No.
But I don't like that I can't. I really don't. I really wish that I felt like you that I could see a little more in it.
Yeah. But I have seen, like when we've spoken about the other 5, I could see you're invested in it.
Absolutely, and I would definitely recommend all of them up to 5. Absolutely, I think they should have ended there at 5.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
And I think to many people they did end it there.
Yeah.
And Part 6 is the only one you still can't get.
Right.
I think in America they're all out on Blu-ray apart from 6.
Right.
I think so.
I doubt I'll ever see a Blu-ray.
No. Unless there's a box set.
Yeah, maybe.
And then they should put that as a special feature.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when DVDs were a thing, and I bought The Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
And The Lawnmower Man 2 was just like free gift.
Sure.
That's a bad one, isn't it?
Remember seeing that when it came out and being like, oh my God, what have they done?
Yeah. So the first one, I do like it, but nowadays it's dated a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit simple Jack.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I do quite I like the story of Lawnmower Man. I know what's his name, Stephen King not too happy because it's obviously.
Well, did you know as well that Stephen King? Yes, he sued them.
Yeah.
But he liked the film.
Yeah.
He did like it, but he's like, that's not my story.
Yeah, because they put his name. Stephen King's The Lawnmower Man. It's like, no.
Have you seen the trailer for that? Because this is how badly. I mean, that film done really well. So we get to see, because I probably won't do episodes on Lawnmower Man.
No.
On the trailer, it says, from the visionary, and then it goes quiet, because they do say Stephen King blanks it, and then it carries on.
Brilliant. They just didn't think, well, why don't we just cut that whole thing completely?
But yeah, let's wrap things up.
Yeah, okay. Trancers great.
But I do want to say as well that you've mentioned, or asked you what to do any more, and you said you wouldn't mind doing Starship Troopers.
I think doing Starship Troopers would be cool.
I've looked into it. There's 3 live action films.
That's right.
And animated movie and animated series.
That's right.
So what I could say to you now is, should we tackle the films?
Yeah.
And then if we can mention the animated, we could do it.
Yeah.
We could probably do, I reckon, do it in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I've got parts 1 and 3.
Right.
So we're nearly there. So it won't be yet, will it? But
no.
At some point, Starship Troopers will
absolutely.
happen.
Because Starship Troopers is one of my favourite sci-fi films ever, and I haven't seen any of the others because of how much I love the film.
Exactly the same here.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise actually that in part 3, Casper.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back. Yeah. So you've got him back, and
the guy who plays Rico.
Yeah. So yeah, give it a go. I'll be honest. I'm not expecting to like the sequels very much.
But that's kind of the point of this. Checking them out.
Yeah, and they can't be worse than Trancers 6.
Oh, I doubt it.
Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you everyone for listening. And check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Don't know where you're listening, but we're on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music. I said Apple Music, is Apple Podcasts, sorry. And there's episodes up at the moment. Put one up last week of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the Poohniverse movies. We're going to finish off the Phantasm season soon as well. So we've got lots of different things all interweaving. So that if you're not into one of the things we're talking about, a week or so later there'll be something else. So we're trying to mix it up, so to speak. Thank you, James, and thank you to James Howard for doing the music and the interludes. And there's even some merch available now if you look online. So which,
come on, you want it.
Ian Pointer sorted that out for us, so thank you very much. And thanks for listening. I didn't say squids the whole episode.
You didn't.
So
well done.
I didn't. But go back and hear me try to reference them in the other episodes.
Yes.